Welcome to Mindless Entertainment. My name is Jesse Milestone, and this is Meant to Offend. So if you're offended, good! Haven't done a proper Meant to Offend in a while. Miss doing that. It's a Friday. Seems like a good day to offend people. And today I want to bring up an issue that I don't think will be super offensive to the majority of you people who watch me, because you kind of know what I'm about by now. However, stay tuned, because I might piss off some of your delicate sensibilities a little bit later. But this is a thing that bothers me, right? So there's two distinct points about this gender conversation that's sprung up over the past several years that really strike me as absurdly hypocritical. Just massively, absurdly hypocritical. All right. And the first one is quite simply, this conversation started about what is gender, and gender is just a social construct, and gender is so fluid, and we need to stop adhering to damaging gender stereotypes like all men are this certain way or all women are this certain way, because those are bad. Those stereotypes are terrible. Yeah, okay, they're awful. We put men in a box, we put women in a box. We accept that in order to be a real rugged manly man, you must play sports and chop wood. And that's damaging to men who don't fit the stereotype because they just want to be nice little sweet boys who play video games and respect women. Versus like women, all women are supposed to be pretty and wear makeup and delicate, and any woman who is a tomboy or acts a little differently or doesn't subscribe to the norm is, treated poorly and is rough. So we should expand our understanding of these rigid gender definitions. We should be more inclusive and accepting of women who don't, look or act like a stereotypical model woman. We should be more inclusive and accepting of men who aren't your typical manly man. Great, sure, I got no problem with that idea. I've clearly have been a tomboy all my life, and so this idea of like women don't all look and act the same is not exactly a new concept for me. So I'm on board with that. I'm on board with this. But how come the second a guy or gal stops adhering to those rigid gender stereotypes, they now just make up a new pronoun for them? That's the complete opposite of everything you're saying. You're saying, we need to expand our idea of what gender means. Like, male doesn't just mean this, female doesn't just mean that. But the second somebody is gender non-conforming, as in doesn't adhere to all of the strict ideas of what the gender is, you make up a new gender. That's not expanding your idea of what the gender definitions mean. In fact, that's making them even more rigid, because you're just creating new definitions. If you don't act and think and behave in this certain way, then you're not female, you're Q-male, and you go by Q pronouns. Every time you make up a new pronoun, all you're doing is creating another box with more specifications to fit people into. You're not expanding anything. You're being the exact opposite of open-minded, in fact. You're just creating more boxes. And the thing about boxes is that the more boxes you create to put people in, the more you're going to find people who don't fit in your boxes. The more you're just going to continue to marginalize people or upset people or make people feel like they don't fit in. Because if you make it so that, there's 8,000 different boxes now, and you happen to meet one person who's like, wow, I don't fit comfortably in any of these 8,000 boxes. It's one thing to be like, here's a box for male, here's a box for female, and to be like, I don't know which one of these I fit into, but look how big this female box is. Look how varied and diverse this female box is, and all these different kinds of people. So even though I don't look or act or smell exactly like that one or that one or that one, I don't know why I said smell, that one or that one or that one, they don't look or act or taste or smell like each other either. I love eating human. It's delicious. So maybe I could be in this box and be comfortable in here, Whereas if you make more and more and more tiny boxes, then you look in each box. Everyone in that box looks and acts and smells and tastes exactly the same. Everyone in that box looks and acts exactly the same. Everyone in that box looks and acts exactly the same. And I don't quite look or act or feel like any of those people. Now, you're marginalized. Great. All of this work you did for inclusivity, all it does is push more people out, make more people feel like nobody understands them, like nobody gets them. Well done. A+. What do you think? So that's number one. That bugs the crap out of me. It's one or the other. Either the definitions of male and female are not as rigid as people tend to stereotype them, and we should expand our uses of that and our understanding of that so it fits more different people, or those definitions are just as rigid as they've always been, and any deviation means we need to invent something new to typify, label, and explain people, which is just BS, because all you do when you use external labels to validate your existence is create unhappiness, is create a happiness system that is reliant on other people putting a label upon you or acknowledging the label you've put upon yourself. And guess what? When your happiness is reliant on other people, you will never be happy. So that's a hypocritical bit number one. Though, if you think about it, not really that hypocritical, because the SJWs don't want to be happy. The people creating these boxes don't want to be happy. They thrive on misery. Their life would have no purpose if they could just acknowledge the fact that they live in abject privilege and should be happy. Because, oh my God, then I'm not struggling, and if I'm not struggling, I'm not worth anything. So you have to create struggles for yourself to be miserable. The second point, this drives me up a wall as well. So, you got people who are like, I'm gender non-conforming. I don't want to be this thing or that thing, but I want this pronoun, and you will call me by this pronoun, and if you don't, I'm going to have a panic attack and my identity dissociation. I'm going to cry and go to a mental hospital. Okay. So your identity, once again, is being defined by external sources. That's great. And so the most important thing to you is people getting your pronouns right. It's the most important thing. Right? Because if people don't get your pronouns right, oh my God, how do I live? And yet, you go through life purposefully dressing and acting in ways that are completely contrary to the pronouns you're telling everyone to use for you. There was a short-haired person that I went to college with. They were biologically female. They had short hair. That was about the only sort of gender non-conforming trait, which, like, come on, women have had short hair since for effing ever. This is not exactly gender non-conforming anymore. But I went to so short-haired, biologically female person, tits and all, who would dress pretty fucking female, wear some eyeliner, wear a little tutu, wear a little ballet flats, didn't do anything to tape down or hide the bra or whatever, but wanted to go by male pronouns and would get very, very, very upset if you did not use male pronouns, which is like, oh my God, this is life-ruining, life-ending, because you didn't immediately assume the correct pronouns when I purposefully presented in line with not the pronouns I'm asking you to use. Pick one. Is it more important for you to have your identity the way it is, to be gender free and dress however you want to dress and be however you want to be? Or is it more important for random strangers on the street to get your pronoun right? Pick one. You don't get both. That's an unrealistic, idiotic expectation to say that I'm going to invent a new gender. I'm going to be purposefully iconoclastic to the gender that I choose to go by or whatever. But if people don't intuitively get it right, intuitively know my identity, I am going to have a breakdown. That's insanity. That's crazy. If you're doing that, you have probably narcissistic personality disorder or some other serious mental illness, because that's messed up. Now, look, I'm not saying that if you're gender nonconforming, you have a mental disorder. That's not what I'm saying, all right? Context. I'm saying that if you don't want to conform to, a classic male-female gender, but you go around expecting the world to intuitively know what your gender is, that's crazy. That's absolutely unrealistically, egotistically insane. So, there. Now, the flip side of this that I want to talk about, because this is something that I deal with as, a short-haired female, because, oh my God, the reality is for all the effing craziness going on in the world about, women can look all sorts of ways and men can look all sorts of ways, there are still a lot of assholes out there who are like, wow, she's a loud, yelly, short-haired female. She must be a tranny or a lesbian. Stop. Also, and this is a thing, right? You see a lot of this stuff. You're seeing this in relation to the Batwoman trailer, where people looking at Ruby Rose being like, she is not a woman, she's a tranny man. Like, I'm sorry, if your reason to hate something is that Ruby Rose doesn't look feminine enough for you, you're being a bigot. You are, all right? There's not, the insanity on the left, the insanity in the SJW identity politics does not justify bigotry on the right. What has Ruby Rose done to you? What has she personally done to affront you or upset you? I'm not saying people talking about her. I'm not saying people who you think are like her. What has she done to you? Because unless she has walked around being like, I am a gender this and fuck you all for not subscribing to my blah. She hasn't, by the way. She's actually very cool. She talks about her how she feels about gender. She talks about her sexuality. She's very open about it, but she's not super defensive about it. She's not super antagonistic about it. All right? So if you want to use that as a point to attack her, if you want to be like, F Ruby Rose because she looks mannish and I don't find her, like, you don't have to find her attractive, all right? You don't have to. You're not obligated to. But if you want to use the fact that she doesn't look like a traditional woman as your point to tear her down, fuck you, you are a bigot. So there, that's the point, right? This is the thing. I'm not doing my job. I'm not doing my due diligence here if I'm just calling out one side and not the other, because that's what's been happening. Is we've been calling out one side, we've been focusing on their insanity, and there are some people who are using that to justify being assholes on the other side, and that is equally unacceptable. That is equally unacceptable. So that's that. So if you're offended by any of this, awesome. Great. If you're not, I'll try again next time. If you know somebody needs to see this video, by all means, send it to them. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and press the like button, or press it hard, or press it tenderly, or press it roughly, or press it however you want. And then click all the links that are about to pop up here. You've got Jessie Shot First, the incredible t-shirt designed by That Star Wars Girl, featuring me shooting first, like I do. You've got LA Cheesesteak Reviews. We got new content that's going to be launching in a week or two. I'm very, very excited. We got episodes ready. They're going to be running weekly. It's going to be such a cool show. You've also got Get Involved with Me. That video will tell you all sorts of things like my Patreon, Teespring links, different ways to get involved with the channel, help it grow. Twitter at Jessie Milestone, Instagram at Mindless Entertainment. Thank you so much for your support. It is so incredibly appreciated. I'm not here without you guys, so appreciate it a lot. Have a great weekend. God Empress out.